Boris Dromoff and Bonnie Fisher at Roma Design. They had a lot of fun, I think, designing that playground and working on the master design plan. So, and then the final feature I'd like to highlight is in I think just a great example of what I would call environmental and social and economic justice. What was some of the dirtiest land in Union City now is home to a development, the Station Center Affordable Housing, that is built to the absolute highest standards of environmental sustainability. It's a LEED Platinum certified development, and we're very, very proud of that. One of the things I just want to do briefly is thank and honor some of our other key partners in this development. You know, when we realized that we had the honor and privilege to work on such a special and critical piece of land for Union City and for the Station District, we knew we wanted to do something really special with the design. And the first firm we thought of was David Baker and Partners. I'd admired their work for years. I had invested in deals that David had done, but I had never personally had an opportunity to work with him and his team directly as a developer. MidPen had worked with him, but not in several years, so most of our team hadn't. And I tell you, it was just an absolute pleasure to work with David and his team. You know, I think they've pulled off what by any measure is a pretty bold and I believe beautiful design. And again, they've been really at the center of our effort to make sure that we did that in a very thoughtful way. That what we always have in mind in any development, and I really believe David achieved this here, is to make sure that every inch of the development, we're pushing ourselves to put it to the highest utility, the highest use for residents, so that we're just maximizing their living experience. And I think David did an incredible job. Daniel Simmons, if he's here, if he could raise his hand, was the incredible project lead on this, along with David. It's just an absolute joy to work with Daniel, and I love that I'm warm today. I thought we were gonna be in the rain. I have to say, this morning, Daniel and David and others, and now I've spent a lot of time thinking about Peter McKenzie, who was a partner. Many of you know, a partner at David Baker and Partners for several years. I had the pleasure to work very closely with Peter, along with Daniel and David, in the early design stage of this development. And I'll tell you, Peter passed away tragically and way too soon while this development was underway. And you know, he was just a beautiful person and an incredible professional, and I really feel lucky to have had the opportunity to get to know him better through this development. I also want to just acknowledge Barry Swenson Builders. Dave Gibbons and his team are here. Dave, if you want to raise your hand. We had never worked with Swenson Builders, and we were very aware of their wonderful reputation, but when you put as much, you know, you have a lot riding on your general contractor, so it's always a little unnerving if you don't have prior experience. And again, I would tell you, it's just was a wonderful experience. Dave and his team were highly professional, absolutely had a solution-oriented approach to their work, and delivered, I think, a really great quality product on budget and on time, and I want to thank him for that. And then I just want to wrap up by talking a little bit about our lease-up process and the community building process that we're into now with the residents. I'll tell you that this process is always really remarkable. We had over 1,500 applications, more than 10 to 1 for this development, an expression of the tremendous need for affordable housing in Union City and throughout the Bay Area. Our lease-up team just did a phenomenal job of managing that process. Phase 1, the first 100 units were completed about a year ago in September, and were fully leased up by November. And then the Phase 2, the 57 units were completed in April and leased up by the end of May. So less than 2 months each phase to lease up, which is just a really big accomplishment. And then we get into that, you know, just incredibly fun stage when folks start to move into the development. And this is just a really, really special time. And just to tell you a little bit about the resident community we have here, The vast majority lived or worked in Union City. There's a preference here locally that turned out great in this development. But as you would expect in Union City and throughout the Bay Area, it's just this incredible spectrum or mosaic of families and people with diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds and a great diversity of personal histories. But one thing that we know about them, that we know that they all share individually and collectively, and we know this really about all the 14,000 residents who live in MidPen housing, and that is that they have just an incredible grit and determination and persistence and perseverance to improve their own lives and the lives of their family members. And we know this because, for one thing, they survived what is a fairly rigorous process of trying to get into this housing, which is too bad but really true, that it's a very difficult process. But secondly, and maybe more indicative, is that they had the courage to uproot and move their families because they thought that they saw and understood that there was an opportunity to advance their well-being. And, you know, I really believe that this quality of grit and determination and perseverance is the most important quality for any of us if we're going to be successful in the modern economy and in these modern times. And, you know, we see that manifest in so many ways as we're on to the work now of building and creating with them a really safe and respectful environment. And as we see these residents aggressively engage in our resident services programs, the kids come to our academic-based after-school program. The opportunity, really, one of many opportunities they have throughout the community to create generational change and opportunity for their family members. Last year, we had 32 participants in our program throughout our portfolio enroll in 4- and 2-year colleges. As freshmen, the vast majority going to college for the first time of anyone in their family. We see them take advantage of our financial literacy classes, our computer literacy classes. We see them engage with the wonderful folks you see here today from the San Francisco State nursing program, who are working with us to provide free on-site health assessments and health education classes for the residents. And I think that what our residents understand is that if they have the foundation and the stability that affordable, safe, quality, affordable housing provides, that really anything's possible for them, and that they can enhance their well-being in whatever way is most important to them and their families. So we're just really proud to be part of that process and want to thank all of you for helping us in this journey. Thank you.
Well, looking at the program after Matt's filibuster, the next 5 speakers have 15 seconds apiece. I'm glad you clarified, Matt, who the people were. I thought we were going to have a Taekwondo exhibit here at any moment, but I guess they will save that for the ribbon-cutting part. Our next speaker, proving that not everybody from the state is bad, is Lynn Warren, who's been up there less than a year with the California Department of Housing and Community Development. It's been very integral in helping us get this plaza put together. Lynn.
I have the pleasure on many occasions of following Matt on panels and sessions, and he speaks eloquently, albeit at length, but that's okay. Mayor Green, thank you very much. Clearly, this is a beautiful place. You're a public servant of great vision, and I would also say courage for admitting your allegiance to Southern California sports teams. And I wish the Dodgers well. I really do. But just not too well is my preference. I'm a longtime Giants fan. I grew up in San Francisco, and I have many memories of some sort of going to Candlestick and watching Mays and McCovey hit home runs into the fog. So I'm pleased that they've done so well. On behalf of Governor Brown and HCD, it's certainly my pleasure to be here today. I don't get to come to these very often. I was telling Matt on the way in, I really don't get out that often, which may be a good thing. But we have 90 projects throughout the state, transit-oriented developments that are receiving funding out of Prop 1C. And now, like this one, they're gradually coming to fruition. I can remember not